First of all, thank everybody for coming here today. This is my first time getting to speak, but I'll be on pretty much every panel from here on out, I think, for the rest of the day. All right, something like that. But it really is a pleasure to have everybody here. I think we've made a lot of progress at the Esports Innovation Center in a very short time since we've opened up. I'm really excited to have you guys see the vision that we have for the EIC across the street. I'd like to thank everybody that's come here from near and far. It would take me the rest of the afternoon to thank everybody individually for coming, but special thanks to the EDA for making all of this possible. And with that, I would like to introduce our keynote speaker. Tim Sullivan is the CEO of the Economic Development Authority. Tim, a Georgetown grad, even though I went to Syracuse, I won't hold that against you at all. Yeah, I know, he's out of here already. It's okay, we're not even in the same conference anymore, the rivalry is sort of dead. But got to start in investment banking with Barclays Capital. Eventually worked also with Lehman Brothers in healthcare banking. Joining government in 2010, he was the chief of staff to the New York City deputy mayor. Eventually became the CEO of EDA since 2011. The Economic Development Authority has been a New Jersey national model for economic growth. During COVID, they created over a dozen programs for the post-recovery alone, which has really helped a variety of different economic sectors get on the ground. They've really helped areas, in particular, renewable energy, and esports is a focus for the state's economic plan. So we're very grateful to have Tim do the keynote today, and I'd like to welcome him to the stage.
Thank you, Andrew, for that very kind introduction. I apologize, everyone's watching on the stream. It looks like you're like looking at us from sort of the sideline of the 50-yard line, possibly with sort of your posterior, which is probably not what people signed up for, but you could do it all the same. Great to be in person. It's an in-person event. Talking about something so important. We're back in person again. Nobody cough. We'll look at you really funny if you cough. I got to respond first to what Andrew said, which is that he went to Syracuse. That's, I'm thrilled with the work you're doing, the leadership of the Innovation Center. That's all great, but that's a problem, man. Where's the everybody? We should make it against the law to bet on Syracuse because they're probably cheating. They're probably not operating. You're probably going to want to regulate that specifically. It sounds like I'm joking, but that's actually very good. All kidding aside, I have love for some people from Syracuse. You're okay. It's not okay, but you're okay. But in all sincerity, great to be with everybody. What an important moment here we are having to sort of come out of touch with the very worst of the pandemic and kind of get back to something like normal, but a pretty different normal than we were in before. So I'm happy to go to Murphy. First of all, thanks for being here. Thanks for everything you're doing to build this industry. Most importantly, to build this industry right here in New Jersey. Before I jump into a couple thoughts, let me just recognize a couple colleagues. Bill Kenders, Jim Palermo, Sandy Chu are here. Is anyone else here? It's three at the front table that are in my side. So I'm not sure if others are here, but if they are, good to be with that as well. We're having this conversation at a kind of an interesting moment or a challenging moment, both challenging and positive moment. New Jersey's economic momentum is actually really strong. It's as strong as it's been, in recent memory, the last 20, 30 years. Look at things like GDP growth, you look at job creation. For the last 12 months, we've led the Northeast in the rate of private sector job creation. We're back in the top 10 for venture capital investment in New Jersey-based companies. We have our credit upgraded for the first time on 41. Moody's had never upgraded New Jersey's credit in my lifetime prior to this summer, or this spring, whatever it was. So there's a lot of things moving in the right direction. Lots of good things happening from Washington sending us all kinds of resources to do lots of good things. Of course, Congress passed for all the top of that list, so your dad said hello. Thanks for all the money that the Feds have brought back to New Jersey. But at the same time, there's also a real challenge, right? Who's a realistic observer of that. A ground war in Europe was not on anyone's bingo card. If it was, you were pretty smart. Inflation, gas prices, supply chain challenges that persist in sort of the traditional parts of the economy. Those are real headwinds, but that's actually when things are interesting. When there's cross currents of both really good things happening and some really challenging things happening. That's when it's fun and interesting and an appropriate time to be thinking about investments in and supporting new industries and new sectors. And that's been a hallmark of Governor Murphy's time in office. He's really thinking about economic diversification. We want to do a lot. We want to support small businesses. We want to recapture our leadership in innovation, but we also really want to focus on diversifying our overall economic sort of hand of cards, like I said, metaphor appropriately. We've always had a really strong presence in things like professional services, of course, pharma and tech, and financial services industry, and professional services industry, traditional, engines of our economy, aerospace and defense, those kinds of where we've had, real strength historically. But we've also, during Governor Murphy's time in office, which is going on 5 years now, seen tremendous growth and really just scratched the surface of the growth in a whole variety of new sectors. I'll get to sport betting and esports at the end, I promise. But things like offshore wind and clean energy, we're poised to be the capital of American offshore wind. Cannabis is poised to be a real industry here in New Jersey. We're trying to get that done right from a social equity and justice perspective. Easier said than done, but really important. FinTech broadly, film and television is booming, both in the number of films that are being made here, and we've got more people looking to build studios in New Jersey than government to put up. That is a high-class problem, but the challenge all the same. The film and television industry is going gangbusters here in New Jersey. And then on that list too, sports betting and esports. It's a brand, in the grand scheme of things, it's a couple years old, but a brand new sort of twin pair of industries here in New Jersey and across the country, of course, in Nevada. And when I was first time, so I grew up in Bergen County. I was working in New York City, as Andrew mentioned in my bio, and I was working in Connecticut. And I came home to work for the home team for Governor Murphy, gave me the opportunity to come work for him. When I first came back, it was right around the time the Supreme Court was about to decide the case legalizing sports betting, which credit to Governor Christie, lesbian lots of the people who pushed like hell for that. It was a smart thing to do. And I kind of had it all wrong. I was thinking about it like I wasn't wearing my economic development hat. I was thinking about my sort of fun hat. Like, fun, you bet on the Giants. Okay, I'll get a couple beers. Hang out with friends about the Giants. That's okay to me. And a bunch of people were like, you dummy, you're not thinking about this the way. This is about technology. This is about financial services. This is about cybersecurity. This is about actuarial type of operation, odd-making kinds of jobs. This is a deep industry potential opportunity for New Jersey, and that's borne out to be true both in sort of the sports betting itself and esports alongside of it. These are both already today really important parts of the New Jersey economy, and I think we're barely scratching the surface of the job creation dimensions. One of the things I think that's key to New Jersey's approach, and Dave Reed's here somewhere I was talking before we step out for a moment. You don't often think about regulation as a competitive advantage, and what DGE does is sort of separate from it and meant for any opinions I have about industry creation. But the way they've thought about implementing a law that was passed, and the way that they've gone about using regulation as a strategic advantage to make sure that all the data stays here, all the good stuff that the industry might benefit, that sort of the technology and job-intensive dimensions of this industry might benefit from, is really smartly been thought about from a regulatory perspective. That's, again, you don't often think regulation as a competitive advantage. I think we have that here in New Jersey. And certainly if you look at some other states, I think that's one of the reasons why we are leading the pack in a lot of dimensions. Not just on the handle, that's great. Again, that's all super great. It's great for those of you who are participating in the economics of the handle, but also from a job creation perspective. I think that's a big reason why that smart regulatory approach is a big reason why. And as we think about esports specifically, again, I think it's such a global industry that most people don't, unless you are in this room or watching at home on the live stream or wherever you are, you probably don't think about it enough. The stats that some of the popular events are more viewed than the Super Bowl globally. Knocks a lot of people's socks off when I hear that kind of thing, for me, because this is a huge global industry. New Jersey's got a puncher's chance, if not better, to be at least one of, if not the capitals of this industry. There's a lot of complicated stuff that Bill was talking about earlier. All the things about how we sort of do this smartly with regard to citizens, some of the beings, and making sure they're not being taken advantage of or having as many challenges with regard to addictions and compulsive behavior and all that kind of stuff is deeply important. I don't profess to have a cocktail of restriction for all that. But we are really poised to have a real leadership position that also helps diversify the Atlantic City, Atlantic County economy as well. Yes, it's gaming adjacent, but it's the future of gaming and a big opportunity to add another piston
more sort of sub-piston or companion piston, if you will, to the Atlantic City, Atlantic County, South Jersey economic ecosystem. There's other things on that list as well, aviation, things that Lord Warren and his colleagues and Howard Kyle and the county are doing out at the airport, all great stuff. It's in Atlantic City and sort of thinking about bulking up the heft of the gaming industry broadly. This is a hugely important opportunity for New Jersey, and Governor Murphy has recognized that from the earliest days. This time, so we're really thrilled with the partnership that we struck a year and a half or two ago with Stockton University, and now with Andrew helping the ship at the Esports Innovation Center. Something that Bill has been working on from day one of our efforts, and Sandy and Gene supporting them. We really think this is a good model, pardon me, for how we think about the partnership between anchor institutions and higher education and the innovation economy. The opportunity to foster real thought leadership that also manifests itself in commercialization, in job creation, in putting New Jersey on the map as, again, one of, if not the leaders in this industry in its relatively early days. And with a partner like Stockton, with some corporate partners that are around that table, and most importantly, bringing money to that table, we think there's a real opportunity to strike a public-private partnership and have a model that positions New Jersey so that when we're talking to companies, for example, some of you are here, some of you are on the screen, and others of you are out in the world waiting for us to call you. We can take it. It's not just, hey, we've got Atlantic City because we've got casinos, which is true. That's a valuable part of the equation. We've also got this institution, we've got this center that is doing cutting-edge policy work, innovation work, and bringing together higher ed, research, companies, and big companies and small companies. We think that's the cocktail. We think that's the sort of special sauce for how you're going to get long-term job creation in Atlantic City and Atlantic County and South Jersey from esports and from the opportunities around gaming associated with it. So again, we're incredibly excited about where we are today, and we're really thrilled to cut the ribbon on the Innovation Center on Boardwalk, which actually had seats finished. I'm pretty excited about that as well. Beautiful day again on the Boardwalk. And so again, we think this is a really important opportunity and one of many things going in the right direction here in Atlantic City, here in Atlantic County, here in South Jersey, because we think this is an opportunity again to really bring jobs, private investment, new activity, new vibrancy to this great city and to our home state. So we're really excited to be here. We deeply appreciate the opportunity to spend a few minutes with you, and hope that everyone has a great rest of the day, great lunch, and see everybody over at the booth. Thanks a lot.
Okay, thank you, everybody. There's a side door you can head out to and just cross the street. So you want to get to the corner of the building that's directly across the street and walk all the way to the boardwalk. And there's an entrance into the Esports Center on the boardwalk.